All right, everyone, welcome in. Welcome in to today's workshop. Excited to have everyone here. This is I've done this workshop before, only once or twice, and I'm going to start doing it more because it's my favorite one to do, and I usually get the best feedback, honestly. This is the one people seem to enjoy the most. Really because it's where it's kind of where I start pulling back the curtain a little bit and really kind of breaking down the whole story, So we're going to jump right in today, um, and we're going to get started. So welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. We are going to get started today, and as you can see, the title of today's workshop, "The Secret to Remission, Relief, and Remission," usually in that order, from Hashimoto's in 90 days or less. How to ditch your doctor, figure out what your root causes are, and implement a Hashimoto's treatment protocol. We are going to go through that today from A to Z. We're going to use a case study. So we're going to use a patient of mine um, that I'm actually going to break down and kind of walk you through the process. So with that being said, we're going to jump right in. All right. Now, stick around if you like. At the end, I got a special little bonus for you on how you can go through this process so we can get you figured out. All right. And there's going to be live Q&A. So I'm going to have live Q&A when we're done. So stick around if you have questions. We will answer them live, and whatever you need, whatever questions you have, we'll answer them. All right. Now, I am focused. My cell phone is on airplane mode. I'm locked in here with you guys. I want you guys to focus as well. No, I'm not a million tabs open and scrolling through social media and all that kind of stuff. We got a lot of super impactful stuff we're going to go over today. So let's get it locked in. Now, a lot of you who are watching this may already know me. Either you're a patient of mine or you follow me on social media or my email list or whatever. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Ray Benedetto, and I have been almost exclusively working with Hashimoto's patients now for a long time. I've been in practice for 21 plus years at this point, and I've been working with Hashimoto's patients almost exclusively for the last 12 years, approximately. So we're talking hundreds, thousands of patients over that time, help figure out their Hashimoto's, what are their root causes, get them relief, get them to remission. Okay, I'm also a board certified chiropractic neurologist, and been online since 2018, pretty much with Hashimoto's patients. As a quick aside, the reason why we're here today is my wife has Hashimoto's. That's why this whole thing started. So I'm not going to go into really any detail on today's workshop. I've done that on previous workshops, but many of you probably already know that story. Now, I'm going to blow through this. This is not going to be, I'm not pitching anything. This is not like testimonial fet land. But I like some of these because I hope that by the time we're done today, that like this message is going to resonate with you. That what we go through today is going to sound so sane. It's going to sound so empowering. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. You know, just like Lily here said, who was is a patient of mine. And again, we can go through a bunch of these, but the things we're going to talk about today: thorough testing, gaining the knowledge, learning the root causes, all that kind of stuff are things we're going to be talking about today. We can go through a bunch of those. Look, let's get right to it, right? Nuts and bolts today. What? What is the what? Why are we here today? What is the problem? Okay. The problem is, if you're watching this, you probably have Hashimoto's, or you think you do, or you're getting tested for it, or you definitely know you have it. And look, people get to me and they've tried all this stuff, right? They've done all the doctor visits. They've tried thyroid meds, or they're on thyroid meds, or they haven't been put on thyroid meds. They've tried different diets, they've tried different supplements, they've tried different exercise, they've tried different programs. Look, I know there's stuff out there, programs, super expensive programs that people do that don't get even half the results I get with my work because they come to me after they've been through those programs. Um, they're a little cookie cutter, and unfortunately, I think sometimes taking advantage of some people. Low dose naltrexone, right? I get asked those questions all the time. So I get it. You got Hashimoto's, you're trying all this stuff, and it's like, I don't think I'm getting anywhere. All right. Now, here's why. Here's the methodology. So when someone comes to me, okay, literally this is where we start because most people come to me and they've been through that wheel of craziness, like that loop of the medical merry-go-round, if you will, and they're struggling, right? And so we have to go through this process. So I start where everyone's at. I'm like, listen, up until this point, there have been circumstances that are beyond your control. Your doctor's not helping you. They're not running the right labs. They're just prescribing meds. Like those are beyond your control, and you didn't know any better prior to today, right? So then there's thoughts that we always tell ourselves, like maybe this isn't my thyroid. They're telling me it's not. I'm taking my medication. Maybe I am just lazy. Maybe it's fibromyalgia, whatever, right? We tell these things to ourselves. And then what do we then we feel terrible, right? Sometimes we feel hopeless. Sometimes we feel like I'm never going to get better from this, right? And then so then that leads to the actions that we follow, which is a lot of times nothing, right? Because we're not given any direction or any actions to follow. And then the results that we get are a result of those actions, which is usually no results, right? Again, not of your own fault. That's why you're here today. We're going to change that. All right. So what are the thoughts that people come to me with? Look, I'm being told my blood tests are normal. How come I'm not getting better? They're telling me it's not a thyroid problem, right? Many of you probably have these thoughts right now. That's going to lead to what kind of feelings? Now what? Like I'm super frustrated. I'm overwhelmed with all these symptoms I'm having. I'm confused because they're telling me nothing's wrong. Now what? Right? And then, so what are the actions you take? You don't get any help from your doctor, right? So it's like, I guess I'm trying to figure this out on my own. So we go online and we go, "Yeah, look, I run a Facebook group." We go on Facebook groups, like we go on these things and like we get overwhelmed with consuming information, trying to figure it all out on our own, right? And what are the results that we get? Usually none, right? I feel worse. I don't know where to go. Like I don't know what to do. I have Hashimoto's. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do, right? My goal when we're done today, again, this is what everyone comes to me with. I get it. I totally get it. It's not your fault. So when you're done today, I want you to have clarity. I want you to have confidence that you know what's going on, you know what to do about it, and that and the expertise. Listen, by the time we're done today, you'll know more probably than your doctors do, honestly, or that your doctors are letting on, right? All right. So we want different thoughts, right? We want, hey, look, cool. Now I know literally in 30 minutes, you're going to know, now I understand why I'm not getting better. Now I know what to do about it, right? That's what we want. And it's going to lead to different feelings. Now you're going to be like, oh, deep breath. Okay, cool. At least some relief now knowing that I'm not crazy. And now I know there's something that can be done about this and a new optimism and clarity moving forward, right? Which is going to lead to different actions. You want my help? Cool. If not, you'll know what to do to get better and to get it figured out. And you'll get way better results, right? Relief from the symptoms. That's step one, right? It's always step one with all my patients. Like, we got to get you some relief first. And so let's get this thing turned around like quickly, like in the next 30 days. And then now I have a path forward on how to get my Hashimoto's to remission and keep it there. Right? That's the goal. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do today. Let's jump right in. This is the exact process that I take my patients through. You're going to see it. We're going to go through it in like 10 minutes. Okay. And then what we're going to do is as we go through, I'm going to break this down as promised in a with a case study, show you exactly with a patient of mine how I did this and how I do this and how I would do this if this is what you need. People come to me and they're like, I have Hashimoto's. I don't have a plan. I don't know what to do. My doctors aren't helping me. They're sweeping it under the rug. They're dismissing the diagnosis altogether. Like, I don't know where to go. I know I need a plan. I don't even know what to do. Okay. Now, there's going to be three legs to this triangle, as you can see, right? Number one is, again, this is the exact process I go through with my patients. This is what we're going to do. They come to me, they're like, I'm getting nowhere. My doctor's treating my blood work. They're just dosing medications based on my TSH. I'm not getting anywhere. What you need to do is find a doctor that's focused on treating the cause of the problem and treating you and not just your blood work. And when I do that with my patients, I take them through a three-step process. Okay. Again, everyone that walks in my door, even if it's a virtual door, right? Like this is what needs to be done. This is how we get the results that we're trying to get. First, we need to look at, okay, give me your history. Lay it on me. Everything till prior to today. So we meet today. Everything that has happened prior to today, give me the story. What's the deal? We need to break that down. And because then what we got to do is we got to find the holes in the bucket, like the medical, like where you've been failed in medicine, and we got to fix those things, right? Now, I want to do that from a technical standpoint, like labs and history and health history, right? Like the mechanics of it all. But the third step is I want to see, I use this thyroid scorecard. And what it is I want to see how is somebody's thyroid condition and their symptoms affecting their quality of life. Because we need to get a baseline now, and then we want to monitor those things and we want them to improve, right? Quality of life stuff, right? I call these three things, we got to give things fancy names, right? So I call these three things my Benedetto bedside manner. It's got a nice catch to it. So, and nobody has bedside manner anymore, but this is where we start, right? And when we're done with that, then we can just start to develop a personal plan, right? Because now I got to figure out for this individual who doesn't know what their root causes are. So this is step two now, right? Doesn't know what their root causes are. We got to figure out how to find them, right? What are they? And there's, as you guessed it, a three-step process we use to do this. Okay, number one, I do a DNA genetic health profile on all my patients. This is looking at things like what I'm sure most of you have heard of, like MTHFR mutations. Okay. We look at a lot more stuff. There's 100 genes or so that I want to look at. Just went over someone's report with them earlier today, where we can pick out some really cool stuff that may be genetic issues that while we can't change, we need to deal with. The second test I run on pretty much darn near everybody, and nobody does these tests. You haven't figured out these root causes because nobody's done them. They're doing surface level blood tests. It's something called the Dutch complete hormone testing. I love the Dutch test. Three tests in one. As we go through here, you're going to see exactly what a Dutch test is. Three tests in one. Hormones, adrenals, something called organic acids, nutrient deficiencies, antioxidant status, neurotransmitters, that kind of stuff. So these are two tests that are looking for root causes that nobody's looking for. And of course, we want to do blood labs that are, low-hanging fruit on stuff we can figure out, but we want to look at them in functional ranges. We want to look at them in the right ranges, and we want them to be thorough enough. Most docs, especially medical docs, they're running surface level stuff. It's not deep enough. So by the time we complete that process, we've got clarity, root cause clarity. Listen, everyone comes to me in a different part of this process too. So it's kind of why we got to plug people in. Most people I start over here anyway, and we got to run through the process, but everyone's kind of like in a different spot when they get to me, so I get it. So that's going to give us, now we've done these first two legs of the triangle, it's going to give us a crystal clear path forward. Right? We're going to know what to do, and now we just got to do it. Okay, things that we need to address. The third, and maybe the biggest problem people come to me with, I don't know what I'm supposed to eat. I don't know what supplements I'm supposed to take. I don't know what kind of lifestyle changes I'm supposed to make. So I tell someone, when we're done with this process, you are going to know. We are going to figure it out together. You're going to know exactly what foods to eat, what to avoid, what supplements to take. Okay. And again, we walk through the steps. We got to figure out someone's food alignment code. What foods are going to work best for them? And we'll get into how we do this down the road. What supplements do I take? We got to figure it out. And I prescribe them for each individual person based on what they need and what issues we have to address, especially once their root causes are identified. And then we need to personalize what is their long-term plan going to look like? What's my long-term eating plan, my long-term supplement plan? Like, what are going to be things I have to do now to get this to remission to keep it there? Okay. And when we're done with that process, and I want this happening in the first 30 days, gang, of working with someone. I want a 50% improvement or a decrease in their symptoms, right? I want weight coming off. I want the bloating, the inflammation, the brain fog, the energy levels. I want those things changing rapidly. Okay. And as you can tell by the title of today's workshop, I call this 90 Days to Hashimoto's Healing. Let's break each of these down and work through how we do it. Okay. With a case study. Margaret came to me years ago. This is before I had a fancy triangle or even had all of this articulated. I was still doing all this, but not as pretty as you just saw. So she comes to me. This is when she comes to us, right? She's 62 years old, female, menopausal, of course. All the classic symptoms. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anybody who's listening to this and watching this right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Unexplained weight gain, What the heck am I supposed to, what am I supposed to do about this? Like, I don't understand it. I'm not eating anything. She had depression, fatigue, all kinds of digestive problems, IBS stuff, cravings out the wazoo. She was on thyroid meds. She had been diagnosed as having hypothyroidism. She was on thyroid meds. Her levels were normal. All this stuff persisted. Sound familiar? Yeah, exactly. So what did we do? Walked her through leg number one, right? Step one, the bedside manner. I took a look at her previous blood work. What are some diagnoses that have been swept under the rug? What are some root causes that have already been identified on previous labs, but no one was doing anything about, right? Do we need to fill in blanks in her blood work? Are there additional things we need to do with her to check for that she hasn't had done? How is her thyroid dysfunction affecting her quality of life? Now, step one for her, and you can see this was back in 2017, right there, top of the screen. That's when this was. Like I said, I was doing this and didn't even have it as pretty as I do now. She had not been diagnosed with Hashimoto's. I'm like, all right, well, first thing we got to do is we got to run some labs to see if you have this as the cause of your hypothyroidism. Odds are you do. You've never even been checked. You'll see, on some other samples I'm going to show you in a minute, a lot of people have had these things checked for and they've just been swept under the rug. But she did, right? Antibodies in the blood. Okay, now we've identified the Hashimoto's. That takes care of that part of the equation. What she also had some other testing done, right? Because of her symptoms, right? Nobody checked for the Hashimoto's. They checked for other stuff, right? And this had been for years, right? So this was a different patient actually. As you can see the dates. This is 2023. This was a different patient um, that had come to me and had these were her most recent labs. And these, we went back through years of labs, right? Maybe this was no, this might have been Margaret because we went back years. Sorry, this was Margaret. We went back years. These were the most recent ones that I had looked at with her, that she had never shown me before, actually. But we went back years, and for the previous whatever 5 years, she had been having these labs run. Parietal cell antibodies. That's showing autoimmune attacks on. She never thought these were relevant, or that I needed to see them. And I was like, I had never seen these before. I'm like, wait a minute, this is huge. Now these things had already been proved by then. Parietal cells are cells in your stomach that release hydrochloric acid and an enzyme called intrinsic factor that helps for B12 absorption. So those antibodies, right? Smooth muscle is what lines the muscle that lines all of your organs, right? It's not skeletal muscle, it's smooth muscle. It lines all of your organs, your digestive tract, all of your organs. That's the muscular component of your organs. Smooth muscle. She had antibodies. She was having immune attacks on all of these things. And for years, these things were elevated. Doctors kept checking them over and over and over again, and nothing was done about it. How can you get someone better if you don't address these things? It's insanity. So these are all those holes in the medical bucket. We got to fix these failures, right? So then this was some further testing I had done on her over time. Her C-reactive protein was through the roof, right? That's it. That's an inflammatory marker, particularly for cardiovascular risk. You can see here anything over 3 is considered high risk for a cardiovascular event. 42, nothing being done about this. Iron was low, ferritin was low. These alone can cause symptoms by themselves, like fatigue and hair loss. Not to mention they're contributing to the Hashimoto's. Nothing done about any of this. Okay? We have to address these things. It's there. It's the low-hanging fruit. And then this is the form that I use that helps the scorecard that I use to help break down the quality of life measure. So we can fill this out, day 1 and then day 30 and day 60, and we're charting how someone's getting better, their labs are improving, everything's improving, and their quality of life is improving as well. At various checkpoints, right? None of that, guys, this sounds familiar, right? Because I'm sure many of you watching this right now have been through this process, and it's incredibly frustrating. And that's why you're not getting better. We have to do this. All right. So that's leg over here, Benedetto bedside manner. So then it's like, okay, what's the next step? Now we got to figure out someone's root causes that we can't find on blood work, right? Like an iron deficiency or what have you. So now we go step two, DNA genetic health profile. I have my patients do ancestry.com. I'll explain why in a second. And then a Dutch test. That's a dried urine test that someone would do at home. It looks at all the hormone imbalances, methylation activity, adrenal dysfunction, the organic acid testing, where we can look for all those other markers. And then any blanks we need to fill in on blood work. If someone hasn't had some of those tests done, like iron panels or CRPs or homocysteine or vitamin D, like someone people don't get those checked, like well, we got to check those things. That's easy. Those are the easy ones. Why do I do ancestry.com? So what I do is I have my patients, and no docs do this. So if you talk to any other doctor about this, they'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. All I want with my patients is their raw DNA. So what I do, so that's the quickest, easiest way to get it is do like an ancestry test. So you do the ancestry test at home, you spit in the tube, you order the test online. It's 99 bucks. It's been on sale this week for like 29 bucks for Black Friday or whatever. And you do the test, you send it in, and then when it's done, they send you an email saying, hey, you're half Norwegian or whatever. You can do whatever you want with that information, but that means that your raw genetic data is available. I had my patients log into their account, download the DNA data. It's in a file, send it over to my staff on an email, and then I upload it to different software that breaks it all down and just really looks at the genes we want and filters out the stuff we don't want, like for example, MTHFR, right? So then what we do is put it together in a report. I do a report. I manually go through it, do a report, and make it clinically relevant. Okay, you have this genetic mutation. We have to, we might have to do this because of it. Really cutting edge stuff. Nobody's doing it. But again, that's why I get the results that I do with my patients. Like I said, I just went over this one with this report with someone earlier today on their DNA, and with the Dutch test, previously we'd already done the Dutch test results. They're like, man, just those tests alone was worth the price of admission. Like we found stuff nobody ever looked for, nobody ever would have found that is significant that we need to deal with as far as an underlying cause of their symptoms and their Hashimoto's. Awesome stuff. Dutch test, same thing. Now the Dutch test, like I said, it's like three tests in one, which is super cool. The thing I love about the Dutch test is like what you see over here on the right. This is what like a Dutch test report would look like. It shows us everything. We're not just measuring hormone levels. We're looking at how is your body making these hormones? What are the levels of these hormones? How is your body breaking down and eliminating these hormones? Soup to nuts, A to Z. From how is your body making these to how is your body getting rid of them and everything in between. Androgens, progesterone, estrogens, methylation. Really cool. Really cool. Breaks it all down. Now, again, I just have my patients do this test. They do it at home. It's dried urine. They just do the test. I'm like, just here, my staff's going to send you the test. Do it. Send it in. They'll send me the results when they're ready, and I'll interpret them and break them down, and we'll go over them together and make them relevant. Like, okay, well, now what are action steps, right? Same thing here on the left side of the screen, which you see with adrenals, right? Same thing. So we're looking at cortisol, we're looking at DHEA, we're looking at melatonin, we're looking at metabolized cortisol, we're looking at everything, right? On the adrenal side, almost always affected. And then the third part of the test, you can see we're looking at nutritional markers, B vitamins, biotin, glutathione, gut markers, neurotransmitters, oxidative stress markers, neuroinflammatory markers, all this stuff on one test. Super cool. All right. And then again, what I do is I take my patient's blood work, which you saw like samples of up closer with Margaret, but we want to put it in functional ranges, right? These lab ranges are gigantic. So we take them and we put them into functional ranges. And so we look at them in a tighter window so we can pick up on things sooner. And again, I may need to fill in some blanks on tests that they haven't had done that we need to do. Hope that makes sense. So now we've taken care of the root cause clarity part of the equation, right? So we've done the initial bedside manner, we've done the initial assessment and filled in the holes. We're moving on now to, and done a baseline, right? Here's where we're at. Here's let's fix some holes that we can already identify, things that have been dismissed that we need to deal with. Now let's move forward figuring out the rest of your root causes. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty and let's figure out diet, lifestyle, nutrition, all those kinds of fun stuff. All right. So how do we do that? Okay. Step one, what I do with all my patients for the first 30 days is we're going to do an elimination diet. Okay. We are going to eliminate anything that could be a problem. Most of you have probably already Googled elimination or AIP protocols and stuff like that. I'll tell you the one I do with my patients is even a little more restrictive than a lot of them you see out there, but that is just through experience, and that's because I found it to work the best. So we need to initially clean house. Take out anything that could be a problem. Inflammatory foods, foods that cause leaky gut, foods that people have reactions to, right? And I prescribe a handful of supplements while we're doing that, right? So the goal is take everything out, not everything. There's plenty to eat, don't worry. This is what I coach my patients through. Like, okay, here's how we're going to do this, and I'll do it with you. We got to individualize it for everybody, really. But we're going to take these foods out, and then this is how we're going to do this in your daily life, right? And we're just going to eat these things. We're not going to eat these things. I'm going to prescribe a couple of supplements. It's a handful of stuff. It's not a ton of stuff. The supplements are designed to check off a lot of big boxes right away. So we clean house from a dietary standpoint and lifestyle. I mean, it's not just diet. We're working on sleep. We're working on stress. We're working on all these things. But the supplements are the fast track to decreasing inflammation, calming down someone's immune system, heal and rebalance their gut, detoxify their liver and their cells, all that kind of stuff. So we want to check those big boxes. That's foundational stuff. We have to do those things anyway before we can get to like dealing with stuff on a Dutch test or DNA. The reason why I put them in this order is step one, the bedside manner, is like initial stuff. It's like getting started stuff, right? Baseline stuff, evaluation stuff on my end. And then step two is okay, if we're going to do some testing like the Dutch and the DNA, more additional blood work, let's get those done right away because they take time to get the results back, right? The blood work, pretty quick, but a Dutch can take up to 2 weeks and the DNA can take up to 6 weeks. So I'm like, let's get those tests done right away so we can get that root cause clarity. That's why it's step two. Step three is okay, testing's done, got it out. While we're waiting for those results to come in, let's get to work. Let's implement an autoimmune protocol. That's what AIP stands for. I have a specific one, obviously, for my Hashimoto's patients. And let's start with an elimination. Let's start with some supplements. Let's do that for the first 30 days. And I hold them by the hand and I help them do it. And in that first 30 days, I want dramatic symptom improvement. Our goal is at least 50% improvement in their symptoms in the first 30 days. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the goal. And most of the time we get there. But it's not, we get to that 30-day mark. This is why it's 90 days to Hashimoto's healing. Get to that 30-day mark, and it's like, okay, deep breath. Feeling better. All right, we got the brakes on this thing. We got this turned around. Cool. Now what? Now we got testing back. Okay, let's deal with what we got here. Now we're going to want to reintroduce foods to the diet so we can build a long-term sustainable plan for you. So now we take the next 60 days, the next couple of months, and we do all that. And we want to get to that 90-day mark and have that long-term sustainable remission plan in place. And we've had significant symptom relief up until that point. And we want that to continue, obviously, right? So we got to figure it all out, gang. There's just no other way to do it. Sure, we can do food sensitivity testing. Many of you are probably asking about that right now. We can do food sensitivity testing. I've done it 10 ways to Sunday. I find it not to be necessary. It's an added expense that's probably not necessary. Sometimes it just muddies the waters, honestly. We go through this process and we figure it out. Again, people get to me, they're like, I don't know what supplements to take. I'm throwing stuff against the wall, hoping it sticks, right? I don't know. Like, do I have MTHFR? Do I need, methylation support? Do I need adrenal support? What do I take to heal my gut? How do I do this? Like, they don't know, and I get it because you're given zero guidance on that. And a lot of times, especially in internet and social media land, a lot of people are hawking like miracle cure supplements. They're a tool. Look, they're a means to an end. They're not, they're not the end. And we don't want to be taking gobs of supplements forever for life, like medications, right? So we got to figure it out. So we start with a basic prescription. Those aren't things you would take forever. We take them during a protocol, and then we want to get you off of them if possible. And then we may need to add additional things over time based on testing. And we got to do things like, the supplements again, there's a method to the madness. Okay. We do an elimination protocol diet, and then we have to fix stuff. We got to heal stuff, right? So we got to decrease that systemic inflammation. It's huge. If your CRP is 42, we can't do anything. Nothing we can do. That inflammation is blocking all of your thyroid hormone receptors. It's feeling like it's got you feeling like garbage all the time. Everything hurts. It's chewing up your gut. Like we have to deal with that. And we got to get the immune system chilling. And we got to fix people's gut. And we got to get their cells detoxed. We have to do those things. There's no way around it. And here's the good thing. Doing those things very quickly, like days to a month or two, gets huge wins, huge turnarounds. And then now we can figure out the individual stuff over time based on testing, right? That opens the door, man, to a future of I have figured this out. I got a handle on this, right? So from the beginning where we were like, I don't know, I'm just wandering around in the dark here, right? To now it's like, okay, figured it out. Laser focused plan. That's where I need to get to. Let's go. Walk through that door. All right. And I walk through it with you. That's it, gang. That is the method to the madness. I made it way more complex than it probably has to be, but I wanted to break it down in detail. Everything you need to know, right? A lot of people want to make it way more complicated than it has to be. This is it. This is the magic formula, right? The bedside manner, root cause clarity. Let's get on the Hashimoto's healing path. There is no cure for autoimmune disease of any kind, everyone. Okay, Hashimoto's included. The goal is figure out root cause clarity, build a short-term and long-term plan to remission so that someone can get better short-term, long-term, figure out what's causing it, have clarity, have confidence, have optimism moving forward in their life that I can manage this, I can get better, I can stay better, I know what I have to do to stay better. Then I get to go, all right, cool, I'm just here in the background cheering you on. But this is it, gang. This is the secret sauce right here. Pretty cool, huh? And I'm the least artistic person that you've probably ever met. Like I can draw stick figures, that's about it. Um, Even tech gets a little confusing sometimes, right? So, so, so I made this triangle and I'm like super proud of it. So I like showing it off. But again, I think it helps really nail down what we're talking about right here and what we're dealing with. All right. Now, again, back when I was doing this with Margaret, I wasn't calling it this. I was doing it, but it didn't look as pretty as it does now. Um, right? So we went through this process with Margaret. She lost 20, it was 20 plus pounds. I couldn't remember the exact amount, and I didn't go back and look at my notes, but it was at least 20 pounds. I think it was more than 20 pounds in 90 days. Literally, like, I have no more depression or anxiety, nothing. Like, my mood it's never been so stable. Fatigue's gone. This is awesome. I haven't had this kind of energy in a very long time. Gut was fixed, cravings were gone. So the symptoms that she had were all either resolved or were resolving, right? There was more weight to come over time. She was still on her thyroid meds. She is still on her thyroid meds. Most people you're gonna have to stay on them. Like you got Hashimoto's, like your thyroid's getting all banged up. You probably can't make enough hormones on your own anymore, so you got to take the hormones, you know. Um, but but she was better. So it's like she got to take the hormones. Her level stayed fine. Now the hormones are doing their job. They're getting where they need to go. They're doing their thing, and she's better. The hormones weren't fixing it anyway. The thyroid meds weren't fixing it. It was Hashimoto's. Yes, you're on the thyroid meds, but you're better now, right? I mean, it's really as simple as it gets. This is one of my favorite ones. I'll leave you with this. We'll leave with this. Chris, because Chris is awesome. Like she's been seeing us for a long time, and again, you can see we've been doing this a long time. Two autoimmune diseases, Hashimoto's and sarcoidosis. Um, she didn't even know what they were. Medical doctors, nothing, right? So she followed a protocol, same protocol you saw today. Again, this was back in 2019. I wasn't calling it that, but down 40 pounds, hopping out of bed, joint pain's gone, doing work back to working out. My favorite part of this testimonial, which is why I love it and I share it all the time. And this is just Chris, you'd have to know her. Um, she's like, they're whispering at work. They think I had bypass surgery. And she got a kick out of that because she's like, nope, nope. Is it simple? Yes. Is it easy? No. But totally doable with some guidance if you want it bad enough, if you want to get well. See you again at 50 pounds. I love that. So cool. What happens next? Okay. Since you stayed to the end, I got something cool for you. Okay. If you want to do this with me, it starts with a case review. It starts with leg number one. Okay. The bedside manner. Okay. Again, my charge for this, patients coming in my office, charge for this is $397. If you want to do this with me, we're going to do it for $97. What's that going to involve? It's going to involve consultation with me, like an in-depth, like new patient consultation. Those can last 30, 45 minutes. We're going to do, detailed case history. We're going to do the thyroid scorecard. You're going to send me all of your previous labs ahead of time. I'm going to review all of them. I'm going to do a full breakdown and a case review, and then we're going to meet to to go over it all. All right, for $97. If you want it, cool. You don't have to. It's my offer for being here today. If you want one of these and to start running through this process, cool. Don't try and click on your screen or on that link. It's not going to work. You got to like open up a separate browser, go drraybad.com, Hashimoto's case review, or just scan that QR code or screenshot it or whatever. It'll take you to the same page. All right. Now, for anyone who's here live, anyone who registered, if you couldn't make it live, you're gonna get the replay anyway. I get a lot of that. I get it. Like this, I'm doing this in the middle of the day, so because it works for me, I'm doing it like on my lunch. But anybody who joined live, if you have questions, we're gonna do that right now. If you looking like at the bottom of there should be a raise hand function. Um, if you have a question, you can raise your hand, and I'll go in order on who has questions about anything we talked about today or anything in general with your Hashimoto's. Just hit that little raise hand thing, and then I'll kind of do the questions as we take them in order. But always want to, for those who are here live, always get a good bonus of Q&A session with me as long as you need. So, um, so let's get to it. So if you have questions, you can do a little, if you look at the bottom, like when you hover over like your Zoom screen here, there should be a function on the bottom that says like reactions or says raise hand. You can click on that and you can raise your hand. You don't have to turn your camera on or anything if you don't want to, but if you have a question, I'll just hit your mic and then you can ask me the question. I'll answer them live. Um, and so now, if you're watching this on a replay, so anybody who registered, sorry, what I was getting at, there's a lot of people will register just for the replay because they know that like, well, I can't make it, but if the registration's going to be, if the registration's going to be, if I can get the replay just for registering, then cool. I'm just gonna get it, and I know I can't make it, but you know, we'll 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 go from there. So, and that's fine. I get it. Like I said, it's middle of the day. I do that on a lot of stuff too. It's like I want this info. I can't make it live. I'm gonna register so I can get the replay when it's done, and he emails it out to everybody and that kind of thing. So, all right. Looks like Pam had a question. Pam, I'll go ahead and turn your mic on. You'll have to unmute it yourself as well. You don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want to, but um, if you want to ask me a question, you will have to unmute yourself. You there, Pam? Hello?
Yes. Well,
Hey, all right, there you are. Welcome today, Pam. I hope this was helpful for you.
yes. Just
Cool.
wondered what products you are using when you talk about
Products
the
for
supplement.
like for supplements.
Hmm.
Cool. So yeah, so the testing is Ancestry and then Dutch. Dutch is because I consider those products as well because those are tests that people really haven't ever heard before. Um, the Dutch test. So the Dutch test is an acronym. The lab is actually called Precision Analytical, is the name of the lab. The name of the test is they're the ones that do the Dutch test. They're in Oregon.
Hmm.
Um, Supplement wise, so I use primarily two companies that are kind of the big wig. Like I'd say 90% of what I prescribe comes from two companies. One of them is called Designs for Health,
Okay.
and then the other one is called Apex Energetics.
Okay.
Those are the two really leading frontier type companies in like the functional medicine world. Like they do a lot of the research. They're coming out with a lot of the new cool stuff and they're doing the seminars and like they're the ones that are really all in and not just selling supplements. You can't buy their stuff unless through a doc. Like you could get them on Amazon. There's someone selling them illegally, but you can't get them retail. Like they don't sell direct to consumers. You have
Mm.
to be prescribed by a doc. Um, so a lot of what I do is designs for health and then Apex Energetics. And I have a couple of other products that I might need with someone based on their like specialty products based on their test results. That would be not one of those two companies. But that's like maybe 2% of what I use, but primarily designs for health and Apex, and it's mostly designs for health, at least in the beginning. Like the supplements I use for someone's initial protocol, their initial AIP protocol. I do them in phases. There's it's like 7 or 8 different products, but you don't take them all at once. Like it's not like here's this bucket of pills. Like I don't like doing that. I do not do that. I'm very minimalistic with my supplements. And again, I know a lot of people don't do it that way. They're prescribing a ton of supplements, or people are taking a ton of supplements because they're just trying to treat stuff, trying to figure it out. But I use Designs for Health. It's like said 7 or 8 different products. You don't take them all at once. I do them in phases. So, like for example, I have a three-phase protocol of supplements, even within the AIP protocol. So what I do is um, we start the dietary work. So it's like, okay, we're doing an elimination protocol that first 30 days, and then right away we're gonna start these phase one supplements, and they are designed to help. Again, phase one is we want to squash inflammation as fast as we can. We want to get someone's immune system chilling out as much as we can, and we want to support their thyroid function, like healthier thyroid function. Um, then we do that for a period of time, usually a week. Again, this will vary from person to person, but framework wise, a week. And then we move right into phase two, which is working on the elimination diet and then gut repair. So we're overhauling someone's gut. We're healing the lining of their gut. We're balancing the biome within their gut, like the bacteria, healthy bacteria. We're taking care of potential pathogens, right? So I use a couple supplements for that to heal their gut, balance the biome, kill off potential pathogens like parasites, um, bacteria, and candida, like fungal stuff.
What
Again, I used
about
to
H. pylori?
H. pylori, yep, yep. So what I do as part of the protocol is broad spectrum, and so H. pylori would be a bacteria. So we use antibacterials, antifungals, antiparasitics, like herbal combinations. Um, that will, if someone has a known infection, um, that's obviously helpful. I used to test everybody 10 ways to Sunday, and everybody had something. So I tell people now, I'm like, we're going to save the time and the expense of a test that's going to tell us you got stuff going on in there. Let's just fix it. So that part of the protocol is designed to take care of that. 8 times
Oh,
out of
so you
10,
don't do a gut test. I've
I
already
do
had
not.
one.
I
Uh,
do not. If someone's had one, awesome. Like bring it to your case review and I'll break it down with you and go over it with you. And obviously we'll put it in context with you in general. If someone's had it done, beautiful. If someone hasn't had it done, I don't do it as a matter of routine on everyone. That's not 100%, but I will do it on some people. But 9 times out of 10, if they don't have it, I'm like, all right, well, look, we're gonna run through this protocol. We get 30, 45 days down the road, and they're like, I'm doing awesome. My gut's great. Like, cool. If we get to that point and we still got persistent stuff, we might run some testing at that point. Just through experience, I found it not to be terribly necessary on every single person that walks through the door. Their gut is all a mess, so let's just fix it. But if someone's had it done already, I'm like, cool, bring that to your case review and send it. You can send it to me ahead of time, and then I'll look it over. I've had experience with almost all of them. There's a couple that I like, but um, the big ones out there are with the ones most people are doing: GI effects, GI map, GI spotlight, those kinds of things. Um, and then the third part, so there's three phases to the supplements. The third phase is liver support, cellular detox, all that kind of stuff. So, and that's in that order. We do them in that order, specifically for a reason.
Okay.
So, that's my long-winded answer. Hope that answers your question, Pam.
Okay.
And then based on someone's testing, like, so then eventually we get Dutch, we get DNA. Maybe someone's had a gut test. Like, okay, there's something specific that we find. Obviously, you already know you have H. pylori if you've had gut testing done. So then it's going to get very individualized over time, really from the start, but definitely over time. Oh, excuse me. Um, when testing comes back, then we might need some additional supplements or support or herbs. That's going to totally vary on the person depending on what we find. And um and it's not a ton of stuff. I'm super minimalistic with my patients with supplements, especially if we can fix it like if someone's got like a nutrient deficiency and we can fix it with food, like let's just eat more of that food. Like let's fix your gut and then let's eat more of that food and not have to supplement forever, you know? So hope that helps.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Anybody else with questions? Just raise that hand. I'm here. I'm here. If not, that's cool. We'll wrap it up. I hope the nuts and bolts of the workshop's kind of like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what I want to run through. Um, just because I know it's something that my world, my community, my groups, my Facebook group, my email list, I like it's something that they're always asking for, and not that they are always asking for it, but I know, I know just running patients through these protocols and talking with a bunch of you guys on consults and case reviews and stuff, like I know it's something that doesn't exist out there in the world. I know it's something that I do, and I know it's something that works. And most of the time, people will watch like a workshop like this where I break it all down, which again, I don't do very often. I should be doing more. And they're like, yes, perfect. That's what I need. That's what I've been looking for. That's what I haven't found. And so I'm always trying to like shortcut like the learning curve, you know? Like, look, these are the things we need to do. This is how to do them. This is how we get the results we get. Let's get to work. So if anybody else has any questions, raise that hand. I don't see any right now. It's down the bottom of your tray, function tray. There's like a chat function. There's like a raise hand function or um, a reactions button or something like that, I think. But good question, Pam. Anybody else? If not, we'll wrap it up. Going once, going twice. If anybody is watching this on a replay and you have questions, I usually send the replays out via email, with just like a link to watch the replay. So if you are watching this on a replay and you have a question, just reply to the email. Or if you're seeing this on social media or my YouTube channel, I don't know, wherever you're finding this. I don't know how things get where they get sometimes. Just comment or reply. Like I'm not hard to get a hold of. I monitor everything myself. I don't have like a team of like people monitoring my social media accounts or anything like that or my YouTube channel. It's me. All the alerts come to me. So, and the emails, I reply to all of them personally. Like it's me. I don't have a team of, you know, people. It's me. So, um, all right. Going once, going twice. Nobody has any questions. We'll wrap it up. If anybody who is here live was just shy and they had a question and they just didn't want to ask it, um, message me, email me, sign up for the case review if you like. The way I usually do it, like if you hit that QR code or that website, you'll get directed to the page right away to sign up, and then once you sign up, I'll send you an email like right away. Like, hey, here's a link to my calendar so you can book your time with me like in my calendar. So, all right, gang. Well, I hope this was helpful for everybody. And any questions, let me know. I look forward to doing this one again. I'm gonna do this one a little more often. Um, I know it's usually one of the most asked for, or I usually get good reactions. Of all the workshops I do, this one usually people like this one the best. So I'll keep it coming. So, all right, gang, everyone have an awesome day. If you want your case review, fire it up, and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day, everyone.